But take your time with it, ask your questions, and then you'll get into the ease and rhythm of these meetings as we go forward. The biggest thing to prepare is your story because we need an abridged version with the impact. You want to make the most impact with your story. Think of the elevator pitch, and we'll go into more details on that in this presentation. So, as we move to what to expect. Let me just make sure this works. Okay, what to expect. Every meeting matters. Every meeting is important. There is a possibility where you will not get to meet with your members. That's okay. So their schedules are super busy. They may stop in virtually, they may say hello, or they may not be able to meet with you yet. But their staffer is super important to this process. And yes, some of the staffers are young, but their knowledge is vast. So use these meetings to get to know them, ask questions, and build a relationship. We need to build more relationships moving forward based on our appropriation asks. You are not being disrespected at all if you're meeting with the staffers. So these legislative aids, and especially the legislative health aides, help formulate the policies. So this is why it's important they hear about the impact fibromyalgia has in your life. If you do get a chance to meet with a member or are surprised by a member, keep to the talking points and please let them talk. Definitely don't talk over them. They'll have a lot of information to share, and many of them do still have questions for you. They may not be familiar with fibromyalgia, so you can hit those highlighted points, but then just go ahead and leave time for Q&A at the end. Same with the staffers. Please leave time for Q&A. Ask them if they have additional questions, if they would like additional resources sent, and you will kindly follow up with those resources shortly. And meetings can be a lot. So generally we've seen an average of 20 minutes or less. Sometimes they've been cut short less, and there's nothing we can really do about it. Sometimes they start late because the staffer is looking for the Zoom link. So things can move and be very fluid. So I ask you for your patience. I know that I really like to go off of a strict schedule, but in this cases, meetings can move around during the day and they can also get rescheduled for another day. So we're going to do their best to communicate with you. Have your cell phone handy because I will be texting you. That is going to be my form of communication that'll be quick. So I'll be texting or calling to give you as much as updates as we can. I know Policy Takeover will be doing the same. You'll possibly be getting a notification based on movement of the meetings. And then some people have been matched up with additional meetings, which you'll see in your entire schedule. Once the full meetings are booked, you will get a full schedule with some Zoom links that you can reference in a Google document, and I will get that over and populated with your team lead names. We'll have contact information for you as well. The 3 Bs. So I like to go off this, but I did add a fourth. Members and staff tend to run, again, these 15-minute increments. So things have to be fast. Got to talk fast, get to the point. So be brief, be brilliant, be done. And I added be nice. Don't get bogged down into the details again. Impact. You want to make this impact, and we need to get to our asks. And then we need to get some more information from them too. So please, please be nice. Say thank you in the beginning. It's very much appreciated. And thank you for their time at the end. They do take note of anybody that's been rude to them or goes off of topic. There's certain discussions that are not appropriate. And if you do not agree with your representative or your senator, please leave that out because, again, we're fighting for the entire fibromyalgia community here. You're raising your voice for a community that needs to be heard. So we encourage everyone to just please be kind in these meetings and stay on topic. We're going to get into some meeting tips. This is extensive, and again, just ask questions if anything is unclear. Do not miss a scheduled meeting. I know sometimes our health is not going to be predictable at all. If you're not feeling great or something comes up, reach out and communicate as soon as possible so that we can try to find a sub or put in a new team leader. It's going to be tricky. We have a lot of meetings going on, so we'll definitely move you around. Or if you want to attend the meeting, but maybe you don't want to talk, that's something we can rehearse. We can even also, if you want, you can send your story in advance. Make sure it's in advance to your team lead, and they'd be happy to speak on your behalf. Because no-shows do reflect very poorly on the fibromyalgia community. And as a grassroots organization, we can't afford afford that because of the advocacy work that we're doing, and we're doing very specific strategic advocacy work. Offices do remember bad experiences and people that get huffy with us. So, I mean, we all do. We're here to make a difference. So, I know sometimes this can be grueling work, and fibromyalgia is not necessarily a positive influence on our lives. But remember, again, you're representing a whole bunch of fibromyalgia, millions of patients out there, and we got to continue this work. Please have your Zoom updated. Headphones are encouraged to block out any other additional sounds and mute yourself when you are not speaking. It's very helpful because we don't want extra noise or feedback coming in. If you do start to hear microphone issues or echoes, check with everyone on the Zoom when it comes to muting so you can try different things, or maybe there's some audio and video issues. I've included in the email and include here is a way to test. Zoom has a Zoom test feature. You just log in using that URL, zoom.us/test, and you'll be able to practice and test using Zoom. And it'll also indicate if you need any updates. Dressing business professional, at least from the waist up. We're lucky that we don't have to worry about our shoes and walking from the House building to the Senate building, which was very tiring. So we do encourage you to be comfortable. Use pillows, bring waters, have snacks around you for the meetings because you are jumping from meeting to meeting virtually. You will need some water because you're doing a lot of fast talking. Sure to have pillows and anything to make seating comfortable, but thank goodness we don't have to worry about our shoes. So we just ask business professional on top. Want to make a good approach and be professional in our appearance whenever we can. Stay on message. So, team leads will guide the conversation by opening things up, and then when it's your turn, please introduce yourself and your story. Sharing your story about fibromyalgia and emphasizing your talking points. And this is going to be, I know we'll prompt you so we know, and that we just want to make sure that the member and staff listen straight from the beginning, and it really does shape the conversation. When you are meeting with your own rep, we will definitely make sure that you share your story first. So even though the team lead may open up and isn't necessarily in this state or represented by this individual, we will make sure that they know that you are their constituent. So we will allow you to share your story first. In the senator meetings, it's going to be a few more people, so we may have to be more aware of who's in the meeting and how much time we have. So please try to take turns with your senator meetings as much as possible. So if people that do want to talk are able to talk and share their story, and then definitely the team lead will wrap it up with the asks and encourage the staffers and legislative aides to also see if they have additional questions and speak. So you can tell there's not a lot of time for these meetings, but we get a lot done in a little amount of time. What we want to make sure is that they know what we're looking for. And I had this happen in one of my meetings. So what exactly are you looking for? So this is a good time to present the ask and see if we can find our champions. And I'll get into our asks in more detail shortly because they're looking to try to make a decision. They want to know, we want them to take a position on what the next approach is. So this is where we leave them and they can hone in on what's right from the very beginning. Please, please, and I beg of you, do not ask for money for your fundraiser and stay on topic for fibromyalgia. This is crucial. We've had a few advocates go rogue in other meetings, and the meeting was shut down super fast. They were kind of upset about it, but they will close it down even more so in a virtual meeting. So just remember that they cannot give you money for your fundraiser. This is not a time to do so, and we need to stay on topic for fibromyalgia. We'll get more into details on that because I know there's a lot of issues on the table, but we've strategically put fibromyalgia at the center and the focus as it should be. So it's important we stay on topic and focused. Don't bring in other political issues, even though there's stuff going on right now. Fibromyalgia is front and center of our conversation. Definitely don't need to know facts and figures. We don't have to be a researcher in here if you're not a researcher. They don't expect us to talk like them, and that's what's coming up. So the quicker and better they understand what you're saying and what you need and want from them, there's our ask, the better it is for everyone and faster they can engage with you. Just discuss things and how fibromyalgia impacts you in plain language. I mean, they're human beings, so they'll get it and they'll understand how it relates to their lives. So, what impact has fibromyalgia made in your life? How, did you have to quit a job? Are you struggling to raise a family? Are people in the medical system not taking you seriously? These are all important things that make an impact and actually will connect to our asks. Again, you don't have to remember facts and figures about fibromyalgia. You will have fact sheets, but don't think that you have to know everything on the spot. If they ask you a question, especially if there's legislative information or anything like that, just let them know you will look into it and get back to them on the follow up. So it's always okay to say that you will follow up with them and give them the information that they need. So you'll just have to talk to someone. That's okay. If you do have time before your meetings, once you see a scheduled meeting, you can research your representatives in advance to learn about their policies, look up what committees they're on as well. And there's always usually brief bios on their websites to learn more. So it's insightful information to carry with you to the meetings in advance. It is optional, but we'll show you how to find them, and then you can generally find a website for them and get the information. We do have some fact sheets. I need to check if they're up to date with all the information, but we'll be sending you that too shortly. Please don't assume. So please don't assume the staff knows too much or too little about the topic you want to discuss. Your story is the most compelling reason for Congress to continue to support fibromyalgia research funding and education. We generally start by asking if they are familiar with fibromyalgia. Some people are, so then you can continue. But again, it's this making this connection of impact in your life and then tying it into the asks. And establishing the rules. So, this is additionally with the meeting tips. So, when it comes to the House Reps meetings, it will be smaller groups. It may be a team lead and you and your representative staffer. So, this will allow a little bit more time for maneuvering, but just make sure we've clearly defined strategy. The team lead will initiate the conversation, keep track of times, and then make sure the critical talking points are related. And we're going to draw on real world examples. Not every person needs to speak. So if you do feel like your brain fog, it's just like you're not in the mood, or if you want to listen and more learn, please let us know. Obviously, if you are the only one with the team lead, we're going to have to like ask you and probably beg you to speak and share your story. But the team lead can help you out and be more of an advocate for you. So if you have additional talking points that you want the team leader to share, please send that to us in advance and we would happy to share those points as well. But maybe you can at least introduce yourself, tell us what district you're in, and give us a little bit of a wave. And then the team lead can continue with some of the talking points to share, more like an interview style. So we've worked with the team leads on that and make it comfortable. And I know if you're with me, I will do that and engage you and just try not to make it super awkward. Senate meetings will have more people, and it's a fun way to connect with community members who live in your states. So, we're excited to match people up based on states. We have some more people from the state of Michigan. Obviously, California is always our largest one, but it's nice to connect with others and get to know each other and then share. And then we learn from each other in these meetings too on the more and more impact and the changes we need for the fibromyalgia community. We do ask that you take notes, whatever feels most comfortable, because we need that feedback in the end, right? How did it go? What information did they provide for you? What tips did they offer you? Are there any additional caucuses we should be aware of? Or any other legislative information that they are currently working on. So notes do help. You can always send it to the team lead or myself. If you do have any questions, feedback, I am happy to hear. These programs are continuously developing as we grow, and we are going to make a difference in the fibromyalgia community.